This is for anyone who's ever had to show someone how to do something. A coworker, a client, a new hire, an intern, maybe your mom trying to use the banking app that you set up for her. It does not matter who. If you've ever explained the same process over and over again or more than once, you need to see this. It's called Tango.ai. It's a browser extension that watches what you're doing on your screen, captures every step, and automatically turns the process into a how-to guide. And the timing is perfect for me because my team is growing right now. I'm bringing on a new employee and I really want to do this the right way from the beginning. Let's be honest, hiring someone is exciting, but training them can become a full-time job if you don't have systems in place. I've been there, it's happened to me before. I'll take the time to explain something and then they ask me how to do it again. Or maybe you realize you forgot to mention one important step. 3 weeks later, you can't even remember how you originally explained it. I'm a working mom of 2 and I already have enough tabs open in my head, and I don't want my team's entire training process living in my brain rent-free. So I've been testing Tango across a few of the tools I use all the time, and I'm gonna show you how it works, how I'm using it to train my team, and an AI use case that I think is especially interesting. Let's talk about agents and better workflows. Before I show you Tango, here's why it matters for AI. A lot of companies are building AI agents to answer internal questions or maybe even automate tasks, but after rollout, some workflows work smoothly while others just break, stall, or really need a million manual fixes. And the problem usually is not the AI, it's the workflow behind it. These processes live inside someone's head, or an outdated document, or a Loom video that nobody can find anywhere. And that is a really big problem for new hires and AI systems because neither can follow a process reliably if the instructions are incomplete. As someone who's been covering tech and AI for the past 15 years, I need to tell you, AI needs clear steps, defined outputs and inputs, decision points, and updated information. An AI-ready workflow does more than just explain what to do. It documents how the work is actually done inside the tools your team uses. And that's where Tango comes in. So Tango captures the real workflow while you perform it. It records the clicks, the screenshots, order of steps, and even system-level context, so you can then clean it up, blur sensitive information, and export it for your employee training, or even part of your AI agent's knowledge base. So when someone asks, how do I submit this campaign? How do I build this ManyChat flow? Or what is our process for pulling analytics? The AI is not guessing. It can reference the actual process your team follows. And then once your workflow is documented, you can also see which parts could be automated. So I'm an influencer, and for example, after my team finishes a sponsored video, someone may need to rename the file, upload it, update the project tracker, notify the client, and schedule the post. Of course, some steps still need human judgment, but others could potentially be handled by software. And that's the bigger idea. Document the work, standardize the process, then automate what makes sense. Okay, now let me show you how Tango captures one of these workflows in real time. I'll be honest with you, the hardest part about growing a team is not always finding someone. It's about getting everything out of your head and into a system that they can actually understand and follow. When you've been doing something yourself for years, a lot of the process becomes automatic. You know where everything is, which button to press and click, and where it all goes in the Google Drive. And you also know that one weird step you have to do because the platform refuses to behave normally. But a new employee does not know any of that. And you don't realize how many small decisions you're making until you try to explain the entire process out loud. And that is what I like about Tango. You don't have to stop working and write a training manual. You just have to do the task the way you normally would, and then Tango documents it while you're doing it. So let me show you. So right now, I just finished and submitted a video that's sponsored. All I have to do is press the Tango extension and then it starts recording everything for me. I love that I can create the training guide while I'm already completing the task. Done. Now the next person knows exactly what to do. And it's a much better use of my time, especially when I'm growing a small team and I don't have someone else to do the training. I mean, hello, I am the training department. I'm also the boss, the IT department, the person paying invoices, and I'm also the person wondering why no one renamed the file correctly. So let's get to it. So let me show you a real example step by step. So I work as a tech content creator and speak on air about tech and AI on CBS. Lately, I've been doing a lot of work around AEO, or answer engine optimization. If you don't know about it, you need to know about it. This is the new way people are searching themselves on AI. It's basically about helping your content show up when people ask questions inside AI tools instead of only focusing on traditional search like Google. So obviously I'm using this a lot because I want to be ahead of AI, and so this is something really important for my team to know about. Let's say I brought on a new employee and I need them to understand the parts and processes inside HubSpot. This is exactly the kind kind of workflow that has multiple steps and is easy to mess up when you're brand new. So I'm on HubSpot.com. I open the Tango browser extension. I click start and capture. It's doing all the work while I'm going through the process, but I'm not narrating and I'm not stopping to take screenshots or writing instructions in a separate Google Doc. I'm literally just working. I want them to go onto the dashboard every day to see where the brand visibility is. So that's a really important step that it's going to capture. From there, the prompts. I want my employees to know what are the top prompts that we need to be looking at, which citations, and what are the recommendations. And there's so many steps out here. And this is what Tango creates. It captured every click, a screenshot for each step. It placed everything in the correct order, and it automatically wrote a description underneath each screenshot. The descriptions aren't perfect, but they do get surprisingly close. It's AI, not a tiny employee living inside your browser with full knowledge of your company, but it gives me a really strong first draft, and that really saves time. Instead of starting with a blank page, I'm starting with a complete guide that I can quickly review and then edit. Obviously, this HubSpot process has enough steps that I would not expect a new employee to memorize after seeing it once. And honestly, I might not remember every step myself in the next 6 months from now. So instead of explaining, click here, click there, go back, this setting, that setting, I can just send them this guide. And because Tango captured the actual HubSpot interface, everything will look exactly the same for the employee when they log in. So once the guide is created, I can edit anything. I can change the title, rewrite the instructions, add more details, or add a call out to that step people usually tend to miss. Okay, let's talk about one of my favorite features that a lot of other companies need to take note on. On the privacy side, if there's any sensitive information like a client's name, an email address, account number, or anything private, I can blur it out with just one click, and that is huge for me. There's also something really interesting. There's a feature that can automatically detect and blur sensitive information during the recording process. That's really important because when you're moving quickly, it's really easy to accidentally capture something you don't really want to share. Let's talk about another great feature. If I mess up one step, I can re-record only that step. I don't need to start the entire guide from the beginning. Now, this might be the best feature because there's nothing more annoying than getting 8 minutes into screen recording, clicking all the buttons, and then finding out you clicked the wrong thing and realizing the whole video is now a historical document of a mess. You can literally fix that one part and keep on moving. That is the button right there. So once I'm happy with the guide, I can send it as a link, embed it, or export it as a PDF. It really depends on how my team prefers to work, so I can share it in the format that makes the most sense. Moving on to another tool my team uses constantly, it's Meta Business Suite. That's where everything is handled. It's like the brain of my business. And anyone who manages social media knows that Meta changes things all the time. Meta, if you're watching this, stop. It's too much. Features get renamed, a menu disappears, then it comes from a black hole and goes to a different place. It's a lot. So training someone inside Meta can also be frustrating because a guide you created maybe a month ago may already be outdated. So on the social media side, if I want to show someone how to schedule a post, check a campaign's performance, or just pull analytics, I turn on Tango and record the process while I'm doing it. And I do this at least once a month. Now I have a step-by-step guide showing the exact current version of Meta Business Suite. So let me show you how this works. I go on to Meta Business Suite, click this, and it's recording. And then if Meta changes one part of the workflow later, I don't have to recreate the entire guide like I mentioned, because you could edit one part and then update that step that changed. That just makes it so much easier to maintain. We've all sent someone an outdated document and then acted surprised when they were confused. With Tango, keeping the guide current feels so much more manageable, and you actually feel more accountable to be up to date with everything, to keep changing it and making it easier for you and your team. Another example is ManyChat. I use tools like ManyChat to build automated messaging workflows, and then those workflows can become complicated very quickly. Every time I post a video, I say comment link or comment tech or comment whatever, and then I get an automated message from ManyChat that goes to my audience to click on links or get more information. And trying to explain all of that on a call can get very messy. So instead of explaining the entire process out loud, I can record myself building the flow. Now, when someone on my team needs to create something similar, they have the actual process in front of them, and then they can see what trigger I selected, how I structured the messages, and how I connected each part of the automation. What I like across HubSpot, Meta Business Suite, and ManyChat is that the guide always reflects the actual platform. It's specific to the screen the employee is going to see. If you're wondering, what if I'm not in social media, I'm not an influencer, I don't create videos, I'm not in that world? Well, there are so many other tools like Monday, SharePoint, Microsoft Tools, Salesforce, and so many other platforms teams use every day. All right, let's talk about a feature built into Tango that is especially helpful for new employees. It's called Guide Me. Normally when someone is following a training guide, they might have the instructions open in one tab and the software open in another tab. That's a lot of tabs. Guide Me puts the instructions directly inside the app while the person is completing the process. So let me show you how this one works. The employee gets guided step by step while working inside the actual software, and the instructions stay visible as they move through the task, and they get the instructions when they need it. I think of it almost like a GPS for work for a new intern or for an employee. It can make the learning process feel so much less overwhelming. They don't have to remember every step immediately, and from my perspective, that really helps them become more independent faster. The real benefit is not just saving time once, it's creating consistency. When every employee learns a process differently, you end up with different file names, different workflows, missteps, and a lot of unnecessary checking and a lot of unnecessary headaches. And if you already have a big team, you don't need to have someone else training the new person. They already have something to start with. Not only are there fewer mistakes and less back and forth and less time spent, but with Tango, everyone starts with the same process and on the same exact page. If a process normally takes me 30 minutes to explain on a call and I have to explain it to 3 different people, that's already an hour and a half spent. That is time. Time is money. With Tango, I can document it once while I'm doing the work and then just reuse it and reuse it and reuse it. For me, that is the bigger value. I'm not just training someone faster, I'm building a system that can just grow with the team. Since I'm bringing on a new employee and probably an intern too, I'm really starting with the questions I know they're going to ask repeatedly. Instead of trying to document my entire business at once, I'm starting with a process that happens the most often. I know my intern does not need to see every process my full-time employee uses, but my employee does not need every access to every client workflow either. So keeping the training relevant makes it so much easier to follow, and I really plan to ask for feedback from the team. If a step is confusing, I want to know. If the guide is too much, I also want to fix it. And if they keep asking the same questions, that tells me the guide or the process may need improvement, and that's on me. And that's how I want to approach my training at my company, not as one giant information dump on someone's first day, but as an evolving system they can return to. So here's my honest take. The auto-generated descriptions are good, but I still tweak them so they sound more like me and less like a robot or less like AI. And if a workflow has a lot of decision points, you may need to add more context. Tango captures the steps, but you still need to explain the judgment behind them so everyone understands why you're doing it and how you're doing it and the reason behind it. I would review every guide before sharing it, especially if it includes client information or private data. But compared to writing a guide from scratch, taking screenshots manually, or recording a long video that no one watches, this is much faster. So that's Tango. You can go through the tasks like normal, and Tango captures the steps, turns the process into a guide you can edit, share, and potentially even use for AI agents or for automation. For me, it's a combination of that and growing my team without becoming the person who has to do all the answering for every question. And Tango isn't just about creating instructions, it's about turning the knowledge in my head into a system my team and eventually AI can actually use. Tango is free to try, and I'll put the link below in the description. Let me know in the comments which process you're tired of explaining over and over again.